Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a brief review of Chapter 6. And Chapter 6 is a briefer chapter, so some of them are a little bit longer and some of them are a little bit shorter. And Chapter 6 is a little bit shorter. In fact, primarily it's a review. So you probably got through that one pretty quickly. I do want you guys to keep in mind, by the time we're at Chapter 6, we're at the midpoint in this class. So congratulations, that's pretty cool. So it's all downhill from here, so to speak. So just a few more weeks to go. So please take a moment, make sure that you're reviewing the course gradebook, make sure that you've turned in all your assignments, you're not behind on anything. This is a really good time to kind of check in. You're also going to be looking into your assignments. We'll be doing a quiz. And that's an important thing to help you measure how much am I retaining as I go. And that will help you to prepare for the final that's upcoming. So if we take a briefer quiz beforehand, hopefully that will build your confidence and you can kind of understand the style of testing so you'll be better prepared for that final, which is going to be here before you know it. So again, Chapter 6, not too hard, not a whole lot of new material here, but more some reviews that as we get into Chapter 7 and 8, we're going to be looking at some other stuff. So Chapter 6 really talks about a few assumptions that we can have as the interdisciplinary studies, and one is that the complex reality beyond the universe makes interdisciplinary studies a must. And you're going to see that in your assignments as I have you taking apart some situations that any individual discipline on its own wouldn't be adequate to solve those problems. The second assumption is that disciplines are foundational to interdisciplinarity. So obviously we need to have the different disciplines to be able to combine them. That makes good sense. The disciplines are inadequate to address the complexities comprehensively. So again, we're back to what we were talking about. In and of themselves, with a discipline, depending on the problem, our more complex problems, it would leave us with an inadequate answer. It's maybe a good answer, but it may just be a partial answer. It may not be enough. We have to look at the situation from many different angles. We also want to keep in mind that interdisciplinarity is able to integrate insights and from the relevant disciplines. So it's important as we talk about interdisciplinarity that we understand that we have the ability to integrate those insights. So that's really important that we keep that as an important primary skill that's necessary. And 5, that the disciplines to the institutional practices to reinforce often present major barriers to interdisciplinarity. So basically what we're talking about there is that universities by design have different majors, and different majors we train up in certain ways of thinking, different methods, different modes, different attitudes, different ways that we relay that information down. So the fact that we identify with, I'm from psychology, I'm from sociology, I'm from economics, we start to think like those type of people, and that can become a barrier from us from thinking from different directions. So we just want to keep that in mind as we move forward and be aware of that. It's also, this chapter also discusses several different theories that support the need for interdisciplinarity. So you're not going to need to know the details of these theories, but just to understand that it's not just like somebody's crazy idea, that there are other theories that are out there for other things that support the need for interdisciplinary studies. One of those was the complexity theory. And basically that means that there are multiple parts of a system that are interconnected and interact sometimes in unexpected ways. So that problems are so complex that we can't always put a simple answer on them. So that helps to support the need for interdisciplinarity. The second is the perspective taking theory, and that basically says that taking a different viewpoint on an issue or problem or objective or behavior can help us to better increase our standpoint. So that we need to be able to, from a perspective, be able to look at the situation and look at the solution from different perspectives, which is what we talk about in interdisciplinarity. Not just looking at them, but combining them in our solutions. The common ground theory is a little bit a little mixed in throughout here, and basically what it says is that knowledge and beliefs are suppositions that each person must establish with another person in order to interact with the person. And just really in essence makes good sense that if we can't relate, then we're not going to be able to interact well and appropriately with other people. So it's a really important part of this interdisciplinarity to respect and be able to relate with many different fields, to really embrace diversity, to really embrace the different ideas and the different thoughts. And so that common ground, saying, yes, you may be this and I may be this, but what are the parts that we think of similarly? We're both working towards the same goal, or we both do this, or we both do that. So we want to kind of focus on those things. And finally, the integration theory, which basically focuses on how we put things together. So again, it's a fairly brief chapter. Most of it's going to be review, but it is still important to kind of remind ourselves of those important elements. So midpoint, congratulate yourself, but don't give up. We still have the rest of the class to go. I look forward to seeing you in chapter 7.